Well, this is a trip to Brazil that just never seems to end. I was supposed to be back home by now, but because of the recent hurricane, I decided to play it safe and reroute my flight. So that's what brings me to Rio right now, at one of the most famous beaches in the world, and it's still winter, so there's nobody around. What I wanted to share with you this week, though, was an important lesson from recently launching my podcast. Maybe you saw me do that. My team and I launched a podcast. And the lesson I'm about to share with you is something you've probably heard before, but I'm willing to bet you might not do it as well as you probably could. If you want to get great results in your life and your business, this is an absolute essential. Because what I find is so many of the times we do things just to do them, and we think because we do them, we're making progress and we're getting great results. And that's not always the case. You know, I don't just launch a podcast just for the sake of launching a podcast. Obviously, anything I do in business or life, I want to make sure it's actually getting the results, and I want the same to be true for you. So that's why the concept I want to share with you, and it's something you probably heard before, is that what gets measured gets done. What gets measured gets done, and also what gets measured usually gets improved. So here's how it applies to my podcast, and then I'm going to share some practical steps that you can use to take this concept and implement it in your life and your business. So with the podcast, you know, we release episodes every week, but one of the most important things is that we're actually tracking the stats and the data. So that's why my team and I, we look at how many people are opening the emails, how many people are clicking on the link, then how many people are actually downloading the episodes, and finally, at the beginning of each episode and at the end, I offer a free special gift. And we also want to know how many people are downloading us and taking advantage of that as well. All this data, all these metrics allow us to then evaluate the effectiveness of this podcast. Because if nobody's clicking on the links, if nobody's downloading the gifts, obviously something isn't working, right? So why would we keep doing that? But without having these data, we would never know. On the other side, if a lot of people are clicking on the links, if a lot of people are downloading the free gifts, that means it's working. We're going to put even more time and energy, effort into it. But the thing is you have to have the data, you have to have the metrics to know what's working, what's not. You can't just go through your business or even life not knowing what things are working, what things aren't. So that's the concept I want to share with you this week. And here's some practical steps that you can use to make it easier for yourself and to implement this in whatever you're doing, whether it's business or life. I recommend you use this for both. So the first step is to actually make sure you have some metrics. Make sure you have some metrics with whatever it is you're doing to be able to evaluate the effectiveness of whatever it is you're doing. And here's what I recommend. You don't have 12, 20, 30 different metrics. Just stick with 5. Stick with 5 and make it easy for yourself. Pick the 5 most important metrics and stick to those. That's step 1. Establish those. Step number 2 is to track them daily. This is really important. Track them daily so you keep your finger on the pulse every single day. And what I recommend is you actually be the one to track them and write them down or type it into a spreadsheet. Whether it's Excel or numbers if you use Apple. Actually pull the numbers from wherever you got to get them and put them yourself into a spreadsheet every single day. That's very key, and here's why. Because step 3 is after you've done this for 30 days, then what I want you to do is start charting that data. Meaning you can do a formula or a simple thing on one of these programs like Excel or numbers where it will actually chart the data and give you a graph. And you want to do that because I find us as humans, we are able to interpret charts much easier than we can raw data. You know, if you just look at a bunch of numbers, it's going to be confusing, it's going to be complex. But what happens when you look at a chart that you can see either goes up or down? It's very obvious and you can see the trends. And this is what you're looking for when you start compiling data. You're looking for the trend. Something's going up, that means we're doing a good job. If something's going down, that means we're not doing a great job. There's something we can improve, and you can start to see the trends over time. Those are the 3 things. If you do that every single day for a month and you start seeing the trends and then you start doing this over several months, boy, are you going to get ahead, and you're going to start naturally improving the things that you're tracking. You and your team are. I don't know many people that can't look at numbers or look at data and say, how do I even make that better? When we don't track any of this stuff, that's where we are oblivious to it and we don't get the results we can. So start tracking this stuff every single day, then start charting it and looking at it every single day yourself or as a team, and I can promise you, you'll start getting better results. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you're up to. Let me know what you're tracking. I read every single one. And let's have a great week this week. Talk soon.